Hey, I know that phrasal verbs can be tricky, but they are an important part of natural English conversation. So let's learn 15 very common business English phrasal verbs that you can use in lots of different situations. First up, we have carry out. Carry out. Now, carry out just means to perform or complete a task or an action. So, for example, we need to carry out market research before launching this product. We need to carry out market research before launching this product. Or, how are we going to carry out this plan? How exactly are we going to carry out this plan? So again, carry out just means to perform a task or complete an action. Very common, very versatile, and easy to use at work. Next is to follow up. To follow up. Now, to follow up just means to check the status of something that is ongoing, okay? To check on how something is going. So for example, could you please follow up with the client about these changes? Could you please follow up with the client about these changes? This is also very commonly used in emails. You might begin your email like this. I am writing to follow up on my order, okay? I'm writing to follow up on my order, which basically means to check the status or see what's happening with my order. So we follow up on things that are ongoing and we are waiting for them to be completed. And we follow up with a person on something, okay? So pay attention to the prepositions that we use after this phrasal verb. I need to follow up on something or follow up with someone on something. Next up, we have to set up. Set up. Now, if you set something up, this just means to arrange, to establish, or to get something started. So this one can be used in a variety of different situations. For example, let's set up a meeting to discuss the project timeline. Let's set up a meeting to discuss the project timeline. Or we are setting up a nonprofit. We are setting up, we are starting up basically a nonprofit organization. Take on. Take on. Now, take on means to accept additional work or additional responsibility. So for example, I'm willing to take on additional tasks to help the team. I'm willing to take on additional tasks to help the team. Or I have a lot on my plate right now, so I'm not able to take on any additional tasks. I have a lot on my plate right now, so unfortunately, I'm not able to take on any additional tasks, all right? So to take on additional tasks, to take on additional work, to take on another project, this means that you accept this additional or extra work, usually on top of the work that you already have. Now, if you are trying to take your English vocabulary skills to the next level and you want to learn more natural idioms, phrasal verbs, expressions, and vocabulary like this, make sure to check out the Weekly English Words membership. This is an online self-study membership, so you can learn at your own pace. Now, myself and teacher Tiffany created this membership specifically to help you improve your English vocabulary skills and your listening skills. So I will link the Weekly English Words membership down below the lesson so you can learn more. Bring up. Bring up. Now, bring up in the context of business means to mention a topic for further discussion, okay? To mention something that you want to discuss further. So for example, the client brought up a few concerns about these changes. The client brought up a few concerns about these changes, okay? Or, why don't you bring this up in the next team meeting? Why don't you bring this up in the next team meeting? Okay? You can also say to someone, you brought up a good point in our last conversation, or you brought up a good point the last time we talked, okay? So bring up, to bring something up, to bring up a topic, just means to introduce that topic or to mention it so that you can discuss it further. Fill out, fill out. Now we use this one for forms or documents, whether they are on paper or they are electronic. And this is very useful at work, but we also use it at places like a doctor's office or a dentist's office, or to fill out an application. So for example, kindly fill out this form and return it to HR once you've completed it. Kindly fill out this form and return it to HR. Okay? Or we're asking all employees to fill out this anonymous employee satisfaction survey. We're asking all employees to fill out this anonymous employee satisfaction survey. Next, we have put off. Put something off. Now, if you put something off, this means to postpone or to delay. So for example, due to circumstances beyond our control, we'll have to put the meeting off until next week. Due to circumstances beyond our control, we'll have to put the meeting off until next week. Next up, we have look into. Look into something. Now, if you look into something, this means that you investigate that thing further, or you try to get some more information about it, usually because you're trying to solve a problem or find a solution to something. So for example, let's say that a customer or a client is having a problem, they're facing an issue with something. You might say, I will look into this and get back to you as soon as possible. I will look into this and get back to you as soon as possible. Or let's say that you're brainstorming in a team meeting. You might say, let's look into some different options for this. Let's look into some different options. So let's consider, investigate, or find out more about different options for this particular project or this particular task. Next is to work out, to work out. Now you probably heard work out meaning to exercise, but remember that today we're talking about the context of business or work. Now, if you work something out, this can have two meanings. To work something out, firstly, can mean to solve a problem. So for example, let's talk to Joe and work out a compromise. Let's talk to Joe and work out a compromise. Now, work out can also mean to calculate something. So for example, we will have to work out the costs. We will have to work out the total cost. We'll have to calculate how much this cost. Now, it is more common to use this one with the first meaning that I mentioned, to resolve a problem. So I'm sure we can work something out. Let's work this out, okay? To solve a problem, or in some cases, to calculate a number. Next up, we have break down, to break something down. Now, if you break something down, this means to explain it in greater detail, to explain it in more detail. So for example, would you mind breaking down this point for me? Would you mind breaking down the third point? So explaining this in more detail. Another example, let's break down this project into smaller tasks so we can delegate them easily. Let's break down this project into smaller tasks. Next, we have run out. Usually we say run out of something. And this means that you've used up all of it. You don't have any more. So for example, we need to finish this before we run out of time. We need to finish before we run out of time. Carry over, to carry over. Now, if you carry something over, this means that you take something from one situation and transfer it over to another or new situation. And carry over is most often used to talk about holidays or vacation days that you haven't used. So for example, some companies allow employees to carry over a maximum number of unused vacation days to the next year. So for example, imagine that I have 30 days paid holiday each year, but I have 10 more remaining this year. I did not use them. I can carry over 10 days from this year to next year. Okay, so I'm taking my holidays from this year and transferring them over to next year. Next up, we have take over. Take over. Now, take over means to take control or to take responsibility. For example, Joe will take over this project while I'm on leave. Joe will take over this project while I'm on leave. So this means that Joe will take full responsibility or take control of this project. Next is to work on something. To work on something. This is a really nice one. You can use it both at work and outside of work in your daily life. To work on something means to try to improve something. To try to improve something. So for example, I am working on my presentation skills, or I'm working on my public speaking skills, okay? I am trying to improve these things. You can also say, I'm working on my English, okay? You can work on yourself. This means you're trying to improve yourself. Work on can literally mean that you are doing work on something or completing work on something. So for example, if I walk into your office and I say, what are you working on? You can say, I'm working on the final proposal. I'm working on the final proposal. In this case, work on means I'm completing or doing or finishing. But work on can also mean to try to improve. And we have bring in. Bring something in or bring someone in. This means to introduce or incorporate something new into a situation. So for example, we are bringing in a consultant to help with this. We are bringing in a consultant to help with this. This means we are hiring an outside consultant to come into our company and help us solve a problem. Or we're bringing in a few extra people to help with the move. We're bringing in a few extra people to help with the move, okay? So to introduce or to incorporate something or someone new. So there you have it, 15 business English phrasal verbs that you can start using right away at work. Now you don't have to implement all of these phrasal verbs right away. Pick a few that you like and a few that you know you can use. Implement those into your writing, into your speaking. Once you're comfortable with them, add a few more, okay? Take it step by step. You don't have to use all 15 right away. And if you're ready to take your professional English skills to the next level, join the Essential English for Business course. This is an online self-study business English course that will teach you all the fundamentals you need to know to communicate professionally and confidently in English. I will link the Essential English for Business course down below. As well, make sure to grab your free ebook, English Conversations Made Simple. All of this is linked down below the lesson. If you have any questions, drop those in the comments. Thank you for watching, learning, and spending time with me today. I'll see you very soon in another one.